All right, hey. So I am the queen of jumping in and out of the matrix. I always say I'm gonna do like Sunday write-in shows, and then I didn't do it. And then now all of a sudden, like everybody has write-in shows. And so I've been just going to other people's channels for like writing in and just coming and plugging in and being a part of a community. It kind of gives you that like coffee house vibe without going to the coffee house. So essentially, I really want to get on my platform and start connecting with people again. My actual W-2 job, like my full-time job, is a director of communications for a company. And so sometimes it's like I get hung up on that type of stuff rather than the actual building of a writing community. And so I really want to reconnect with like writing and all of that. And since NaNoWRIMO is coming up, that's what kind of prompted me to write my first novel. And I just really want to be a part of something, bigger than myself. And so I guess I'm hopping in the matrix to do that since everything is on, obviously, the internet. So there's that. But basically, this show, since I haven't been on for a while, I wanted to talk a little bit about my W-2 job because for anybody who tuned in way back in the day or whatever, I always talked about writing, but you probably heard me talk about, being a teacher and all of that. And so I decided, when was that? I decided probably January of last year. So January of 2020 that I couldn't do it anymore. And I have a whole separate video that I probably will do as it relates to education and like why I'm sorry. I just couldn't do it anymore. And there's so many reasons why. So I'll probably do that in like a separate video. But what I wanted to do is come on and kind of talk about every Tuesday, just money making strategies and things that we can all do if you're wanting to write full time. And obviously, it takes a long time to build up your skills, to really start growing an audience. I mean, that just takes time. What are ways that writers can make money to like supplement their income to allow them to write as full-time as possible. So that is what we're going to talk about on Tuesdays. So you're going to hear me kind of toggle between a few different of my like side businesses. And so I'll walk you through the whole process of how I make money as a writer, like what's some of my other like income streams as it relates to that. So anywho's, I hope everybody is having a good night, get you something to drink. And today we're going to talk about my first one, which is, oh, shoot. Oh, don't look at my nails. I am a notary. And so I started a business a while back ago called Nomadic Notary. It is a mobile notary business. And essentially, because I had my real estate license, which is going to be a whole nother video, because I had my real estate license, I was kind of like, hey, this is something that I could definitely do. I love paying attention to detail. And so it's really simple to become a notary. And I think it's really important work because people are scrupulous nowadays when it comes to being able to get some schemes going. And so I think it's really good work to be able to verify documents for people. If you end up becoming a loan signing agent, you can make more money. And that is what I just completed literally a week ago. I became a loan signing agent. And so I'm going to start like actually marketing those services as well. But basically, I wanted to talk today about that. So let's say you want to be a writer, you want to make at least a decent living, especially during like lockdown and things like that. Maybe you don't want to go to a job where you're locked into a certain schedule. There's so many different factors to this, right? Why becoming a notary is a good idea is because you're really the master of your schedule. You can determine how many signings you want to do per day. You can determine your pricing. You can determine how far from your house you want to travel. There's so much money in this, but at the same time, you're giving back to a community. It's not like a hustle where you're just kind of like, borderline questionable. Speaking of which, I have a whole diatribe in the video that I'm going to do about wholesaling, because I purchased like a flipped home and I just don't think it's the best option out there. So I'll get into that one later. But for this one, I want to talk really quickly about what you need to get started as a notary. And this is specific to my state, which is Oklahoma. You might have to do other things if you live in like another state, obviously. But basically what I did is I went to the state Secretary of State website for my state, and I filled out an application online. That application was only $25. I was like, wait, what? $25? That's it? So I paid that. And what happens after that is you have to prove that you have insurance and that you are bonded. And so there's a lot of different companies. Literally, as soon as I keep saying literally, I'm going to stop. As soon as I did the commission, I was getting mailers for different companies, but I decided to go with the National Notary Association just because I already was doing some courses with them. And so I just figured it'd be better just to go ahead and do that. So with the National Notary Association, for $225, I got bonded. I have, what came with that package? I got bonded, I got insurance, I got my stamp. You get a journal, you get like kind of the basics of what you need to get started. And what they basically do is they, once they receive your commission from the state, they send you proof that you're bonded and that you have the insurance. You have to get that notarized, and then you send that back to the state. At that time, you have to pay an extra $10 to have that filed. So I did all of that. So basically, $350 or so, and you are now commissioned. All right. So after that point, I decided, I might as well do the remote online notary, AKA Ron, because so many people are doing things over the internet now. I might as well be set up for that. And especially if I'm writing full time, that allows me to do online notarizations, work on my projects, and you just have to be really good with your time management. So in my state, again, I'm in the state of Oklahoma, to get your Ron certification, I just had to have my notary. Okay. I did go ahead and take the course for remote online notarizations through the NNA. I think that was like $59, but I really wanted to make sure it was something that I understood completely before I just, signed up for it for the state of Oklahoma. In the entire state of Oklahoma, there are only 103. I think I was number 103. There are only 103 remote online notarizers, right? Yeah, notarizers. So I'm thinking about the whole state, and there's 100 people basically that have this extra credential, so they can do the remote online notarizations. So that is essentially what I am focusing on, because I do have a W-2 job, meaning a good chunk of my time is spent, doing publicity, writing grants, writing communications to donors, writing communications to other constituents and people within our wonderful state. And so I am busy pretty much all day. Like, I don't have one of those jobs that's like, oh, I'm just sitting here. I actually am pretty busy. So to be able to do the remote online notarization saves me the hassle of driving all over Oklahoma City, to get signatures and to verify signatures. So that is the first way that I'm going to share with you guys regarding making money online. I think that it's something that is simple. You can get started for under 500, as you can tell, and you can already start generating some income. Now, once you get everything started, and even before then, the platforms that I like to use, I went ahead and went with Doc Verify for remote online notarizations, and I'll update you guys as I do it more. I mean, when I say that this is kind of a new piece to the arsenal of my income streams, it's new. So I will obviously come on and update you as I know more information, but I went with Doc Verify. You do have to tell the state like where you're doing remote online notarizations. There are a few more that seem to have a good traction as well. What I liked about Doc Verify is you can create like a profile for your business so that it's like you're essentially just using their platform and you're running your business, versus some of the other ones, it was like, okay, you're just like a contract worker, that type of situation. I did also sign up with SnapDocs. That's one of the leading online platforms to get signings. Now with SnapDocs, what I am noticing is that you don't really get too many signings to begin with. I definitely received more signing notifications from, give me 1 second. Let me get you guys the name of this one. signingorder.com. That one is one where, I mean, as soon as I signed up, it was like, hey, we have a $90 signing for this particular thing. Hey, we have a $40 signing for a loan modification, So again, if you are looking for a way to make some money right now, signing up for this is as simple as I just told you. You might look into online notarizations. I'll put some links down below to some channels that really go in depth in this because they've been actually doing it for a while. And hopefully that will help some of my fellow writers out there make some income and be able to stay home and be able to, have control over your day a little bit more. So the second part of this broadcast, I wanted to talk about NaNoWRIMO just a little bit, kind of see what people are writing about. I didn't really tell anybody about this broadcast, so obviously I don't have any live viewers in here. But if you're watching this after the fact and you made it to this point, please tell me in the comment section below, have you already decided what you are writing about for NaNoWRIMO? I am so excited about mine. Listen, this is about to be the most fun, entertaining book that I probably have written. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and go over what I'm writing about. Okay, so hold on here. Okay, so back in the 1920s, there was this movie that was filmed. It was a silent film called Black Gold, and it was based in Tatum's, Oklahoma. Well, Tatum's, Oklahoma is where like my family's from. Like that's where we still have like land and things like that. Like Elmore City, Tatum's are right near each other. If you've ever watched the movie Footloose, that's based in Elmore City, which is basically right by Tatum's. And the people in my family, like the names of my relatives are just names that belong in books. So I have a great grandfather. His name is Buck Franklin. And I'm like, okay, that 100% fits kind of the storyline of this this movie. And so the movie sadly no longer exists, but the script is held by I don't know, some company. But basically, they filmed it entirely in Tatum's, and it's about oil being discovered and, you know, people trying to move there. You have people who are leaving, like being ranchers, to become oil tycoons, you know, and things of that nature. Well, I'm going to take this like storyline, but I am going to have one of the actors fall in love with one of my sisters that the story kind of revolves around. So she's going to be, you know, this country girl. She's beautiful and she lives, you know, in Tatum's. And here comes this actor who is a part of this, you know, major movie. Well, the cool thing is going to be like, there's all these layers to it. People were trying to steal land. People were like lying on their neighbors and taking people to court. My family lost over, shoot, how much land did we lose? We lost a lot of land in a lawsuit. So I'm going to incorporate some of the lawsuit information in that. Also during the same time period, this was when the Dawes Commission came to Oklahoma, and that's how they determined who was like Chickasaw or Cherokee or any of those things. So this is going to be so much fun, guys, to write. I don't really do historical fiction too much. So my goal is to do this historical fiction, see how it feels. And I think that might be my genre, because that's the genre that when I'm watching movies and I'm reading books, I love historical fiction. And I didn't want to do like, you know, a traditional, you know, type book. I didn't want to do, you know, girl meets boy and she finds out she has powers. Like, I think that stuff is great, but I wanted to make sure I do something a little different. And Oklahoma was ruthless back then. And so I think it's going to be cool because it's going to reconnect me to my state, because Oklahoma was ruthless. Like, you think about the land run, you think about like what happened to the Osage Indians. I mean, there's so many layers to what this story can become. One of my favorite books is Dreamland Burning, as a YA book, and that is set in Oklahoma. That's set in Tulsa. And so this is going to be cool because this is set in southern Oklahoma that used to be Indian territory. And so it's going to be just delightful to write about it. But I am dying to know what you guys are writing about. If you want to share, you might be one of those people who's like, I'm not giving out my ideas. But if you dare to share, please put it down below. I would love to read and kind of respond to some of your ideas. And feel free to tell me what you think about mine. Like, is it too cliche? Like, you know, moving out west and all that. I mean, is it too overdone, or do you guys think it would be something that people would enjoy? The very, very last thing that I'm going to talk about today is I'm kind of walking you guys through these things. These are ways in which, you know, you can make a ton of like extra money, but at the same time, with my writing, one of the things that I started to do that made me become better with my writing is for free. All right, so this isn't like a paid service or anything. For free, I started reading people's writing. And I remember when I wrote my first book, I kept going back and forth between different tenses. And I think in my head, I was thinking, present tense just sounds more like action-packed. And then as I started reading different books, I read this book called, oh my gosh, Bird something. And it was written in the second person. And I was like, I can't do it. And then I edited a book for someone, and they kept going between tenses, and it just made me go like a little crazy. And her book, the way it was written, it just sounded better in third person, past tense. And that's what I just suggested for her to write the rest of her book in. But it's really good to read other people's writing and to give them feedback, because a lot of times you have little quirks too that you don't notice until maybe you read somebody else's work and they have the same quirk as you. Let me see if I can find the name of that book that was written in second person. I mean, it was horrible. The book was good, but it just became tedious. Okay. I don't remember the name, and I can't seem to find it. I thought it was something about like, I don't know. I'm going to have to actually like look for the name of it. But with that being said, one of the things that I have on my other side hustle, which is journals, creating journals. I'll do a whole nother video on creating journals and templates for next Tuesday. That will be the topic, is creating journals and templates. But on my journal page, I'm going to share my screen one more time with y'all. On my journal page, I created this beta reader feedback form. And what I like about this one is the first part is like a little bit more in detail. So you can actually provide people with specific, page numbers and details from their book to really give them feedback of what you're thinking and talking about. And even as a reader, giving feedback to somebody else, it helped me to read more effectively, because I think before I just kind of went based upon whether I liked the book or not, or whether it was enjoyable or not. But like if I get to page 30 and I don't want to read anymore, there's a reason, and this kind of steps you through some of those possible reasons. And then in this part, what I like is it has you rate these aspects of people's books. And so the really, really cool thing about this is it covers everything from pacing to the plot and the conflict to the dialogue. It really makes you think about all these aspects of good writing. So this is a free downloadable form that's on my journal blog. And I, of course, will put a link in the description. But if you are wanting to get some feedback on your writing, maybe you have just finished a book and you really want feedback, I will, of course, write a contract with you or whatever, that like whatever your idea is your idea. Like I'm not going to take it and then start writing my own thing. But I really love reading other people's writing and giving feedback. And again, that's not something that I do to make money. That's something I do just for fun. So, I mean, with that being said, you might not get the feedback form back the next day. It might be the next week or two. But if you are wanting me to read your book and give you a thorough analysis of your book, feel free to email me. I put my email down in the description, and I would love to do that. And vice versa. If any of you, especially after NaNoWRIMO, you've written this book, now what? And you need to kind of polish it and make it better, let me know. I would love to read yours, and I would love for somebody to read mine and give me really thorough feedback, because this is one that all the ones before, it's kind of like you do Kindle, KDP, whatever. This is one that I actually probably want to polish up and even possibly get a publisher for, if I can get that suspense just right, you know? So we'll see. I'm going to work on it. Well, with that being said, I've been on here for almost, 25 minutes to be exact. And I kind of wanted to keep these little chats to about 20 minutes, at least until we start getting some people in here. So again, leave me a comment, email me if you want me to read your book. And until next Tuesday, check out getting your notary certificate. This might be a way for you to supplement your income. And there's more than enough room for more notaries. It's not an area that a lot of people even think about. And a lot of people don't want to drive around to notarize things. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with technology to do this. So again, it's, I think, a growing industry, and it's something that fits perfectly with writers because it allows you to kind of create your schedule for the day, and I just think it's a really good move. So anyway, I will chat with you guys later. All right, bye.